Kings and queens, today we are back and we are talking Carlee Russell, y'all. A follow-up update on Carlee Russell. For those of you who may not be familiar with the case, Carlee Russell is a 25-year-old female who went missing on July 13th in Birmingham, I believe, Alabama, after calling 911 to report that she spotted a toddler on the side of the interstate, to which the camera picked up Carlee's car pulling over, hazard lights on, and from there she literally vanished into thin air. Y'all, this case, and as the updates are coming in and FBI professionals are speaking out, I'm sorry to say, Miss Carlee, you not passing the sniff test. It's giving liar, pants on fire. Now, I do not know that to be true, but there's a high probability that this, I'm sorry, has been all made up. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad if that's true. If that is found to be true, that this girl made this story up, there were resources allocated, manpower dispatched, dogs, canine units. People donated to ensure your safe return. And a part of the reason why, and we gotta keep it honest here, is because when Black females go missing, there's not the prevalent media attention compared to that of a white female. So Carlee, I really hope, but it's not looking good for you. It is looking like you have abused the system. And if that is true, because right now it's all alleged, and if her claims cannot be validated, unfortunately, she could be facing legal problems, i.e. you going to jail. You going to jail. If what's being said is true, you are going to jail, ma'am. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
All over the country felt empowered. We felt finally pleased that America was caring about Black women. Every national news outlet was reporting about Carlee Russell. This is the first time this has ever happened. The hunt was on to find this Black girl. But then when she showed up at our house, it got a little greasy. Why did it get a little greasy? Because she just showed up. So then that's when the world got divided. Wait, what's going on? Something is not right here. Okay, we don't want to speak. We want our privacy. Something is going on. What is going on? Well, when you start talking about something, people start DMing you the truth. It looks like 50 people from Hoover have already got fired for leaking what's really going on with this case. And it's trickled into my DM. So you mean to tell me all this was because she was trying to get back at her ex-man? Yeah, that boyfriend that spoke out about her being kidnapped and held and tortured, yeah, that was her ex-man, and he actually cheated on her with a stripper, and Carlee had it out with a stripper, and to get back at him, yeah, she disappeared herself. And they got afraid when it blew up. This is what Carlee said to the side chick. Itch, please. He told me everything you said about me, and you thought I told him to say that. I wasn't even with him. You're delusional AF if you think y'all little conversation was anything more than convenience, and the fact that he used you to get back at me out of anger. You want to talk about I don't compare to you on your worst day? Girl, bye. You're miserable, or at least should be, being a stripper to provide for a child I've heard you've had from multiple people. So not surprised you don't know who your baby daddy is. Mention me or contact my NIGGA again, and you'll see I'm not the one to play with. You don't want you and your whole family touched. You're poor. I'm rich. You're a stripper. I'm a nurse. You're ugly. I'm beautiful. You could never. You're the bottom of the barrel. Someone from the police department just could not watch us all suffer. So they released these details. Here's the update. She's sticking to the story that she was abducted. She says she was lured into the woods by some people who live in the woods, described as a person with orange hair, balding on top, tied her up and drove her around and put her in an 18-wheeler and fed her cheeses for 2 days, and they painted her nails. They kept her on 150 somewhere, and somehow she managed to get away and run through the woods to her neighborhood until she got into her house and then goes into the hospital. Hoover got some Ring doorbell footage from her neighborhood, and it just shows her walking casually until she gets close to her house, and then she starts sprinting and flailing arms and acting a fool. She got caught stealing from work that day, failed out of nursing school, and has been on drugs. She had her friend behind her, and that's who picked her up. She was with her friend all weekend. The police knew she was safe because she unblocked her ex while she was quote-unquote abducted. She planned to disappear and realized it wasn't going to work.
There's only one portion of the clip I want to play for you, and I want you to pay close attention.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running. All her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night. Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation.
Her parents declined to share any details. Pause on that. Go back and research any abduction, any kidnapping, anything where the victim actually lives to tell the story. Honey, they gonna say he had me here. This is what he looks like. Baby, they cannot wait to give you details because it's so horrific. It's almost like they have to get that out of them, right? Because you can't internalize that. Go back, fact check me. Pull up any case, big or small, notorious or not, and immediately details are released because they want the public to be on the lookout. And most parents say, I'm sharing because I don't what? I don't want this to happen to anyone else, anybody else's daughter. And this is important that we educate the public. I just want you to pause on that. Let's get to the other part.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there? Absolutely. Absolutely. NBC. Absolutely.
Police say this is an ongoing investigation. What are they doing right now to either validate or invalidate her story?
Well, I think certainly if you look at the physical evidence, and I would start obviously with the video evidence of the camera that picked up the car along the interstate, certainly the camera or the video does not in any way show a toddler near or in any proximity to where she ultimately stopped.
This is a former FBI agent who's sharing that or validating, confirming that there was no toddler. There was no toddler as reported by Carlee. That's the first thing I want to point out. The second thing that I want to point out is they did search for her. You know, oftentimes that does not happen when it comes to African-American females that are reported missing. Little to no resources are allocated and little to no media attention is gained from the disappearance and or abduction of African-American females. But as you can see here, resources were provided. They were indeed searching for Carlee Russell. Let's get back to the video.
Goes down the highway for a good distance before she finally comes to a stop. The first thing as an investigator, I think anybody could appreciate that if you saw a toddler in the middle of the night out there on an interstate, you would stop your car instantly and get out frantically and try to protect that child. The behavior of seeing the car continue down the highway, number one, is inconsistent with the belief that in fact there was a child along the road. Also, I think you would understand and appreciate and anticipate that other motorists would have made the same observations and would have called 911 or would have stopped their vehicles, obviously to render aid to the child in obviously grave danger. So those are the obvious direct evidence that I would have a problem with. I see this case, unfortunately, more as she may have been involved with someone else, and maybe in order to have an alibi for where she was, I think we may see this case unravel in the days to come. Well, the first thing is the cell phone was left on the side of the road. And so, of course, it is my understanding that the phone will not offer any information with respect to after she apparently allegedly was abducted. However, the phone will be of importance to backtrack and see who she was talking to, who she was texting, and most importantly, in fact, we saw the advancement of this technology, the location service services that are indicative now in all cell phones, where it can pinpoint with direct accuracy as to where she was at any particular time. They'll be able to go back and see where or whether or not, in fact, there's some validity to where she was coming from. I think they're going to look at that cell phone information, and then, of course, they're going to attempt to interview her and see whether or not the story that was alleged does it in fact pair up.
So basically what the man is saying, he's saying, listen, Carlee, you can run but you can't hide. You may have left your phone so that we would not track you post your story of being abducted. However, you did not plan this accordingly, nor did you do your diligence on researching how this works, because as the FBI, we're going to dig all up in your business. We're going to pull location services. We're going to see where you've been. Where'd you go? Did you get a bite to eat? And not only, we're going to also see, who were you talking to? Who were you texting? And we're not going to spare any resource. We're going to figure it out. We're going to put 2 and 2 together. And for the pieces that we are not able to figure out, we're going to bring you in and we're going to talk to you. Oh, my Lordy. Y'all, what are your thoughts? This is just, what are your thoughts?
And again, the other obvious thing when we talk about direct evidence is that if someone was abducted, as soon as you would break free from your captive, you would not walk home. You would immediately go to the first person or the first house or the first someone and obviously get someone to call 911 and render assistance to you. This idea that you walked home is inconceivable. It's not believable. And it's not consistent with logic. And so that in and of itself is going to be a problem for her.
A lot of gaps in the story, a lot law enforcement didn't say.
All right, you heard it here. What are your thoughts? According to the Hoover Fire Department chief, she was under a lot of stress, had allegedly got caught stealing at work that day, failed out of nursing school, and allegedly engaging with drugs. We don't know this to be true or not. Over 50 people, they said, were fired from the hospital by the administrative staff because they entered into her medical records and started to leak information. And also, someone from the police department took it into their own hands to leak information because they knew the public was very sensitive and extremely concerned about Carlee being returned home safely. This is a mess. This is a mess. All because someone's child, a 25-year-old child, did not have, allegedly, the coping skills and or the coping strategy, along with the emotional intelligence and the communication capabilities to be able to call a timeout and say, I need help. I'm not feeling good. My boyfriend is cheating on me. I'm not able to finish nursing school. Of course, all of this is alleged. I say this to say what I'm about to say. Please engage and interact with your children. Please don't take on the notion of they're grown. They can do what they want to do. He's grown, she's grown. Because you can find yourself or your child can find themselves in a very hefty, expensive legal situation. What are your thoughts?